The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet. At Gala Chevrolet, our master technicians service every make and model no matter where you purchase your vehicle. But that's not all. We also provide certified service on every GM model. So if your car's been acting a little funny lately or something just doesn't seem right, don't wait. Bring it in to the most modern service facility in the entire state and let us make sure that you're driving a vehicle you and your family can depend on. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Welcome to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions, Pettis Collision. I'm Ed Nunez along with Austin Killeen. And Austin, it's been a couple of weeks since we had the show in studio. We have Mike Alderete, who'll be with us after the next segment. But the Legacy Boxing Showcase card, June 23rd, wow. That's all I can say. And, several good fights. Mike Alderete will talk about his no decision against Mad Max Heyman. We'll talk about that. But the fight of the night, no question, Christian Cabral against Josh Pitbull Torres, 7th round TKO for Torres. And I think one of the things that surprised me, and I listened to it and watched it a couple of times on Proview Networks, is you said it. You called it. You said, I think this fight is going to end in the 7th round, and it did. Why did you feel like that?
I thought it was a battle of attrition. Josh was taking punches, but I think he did it because he knew he had the harder punch, and it was just a matter of time. He was hitting Christian with some pretty solid shots. But Cabral made it a tremendous fight, especially about 20 seconds into the 3rd round. Looked like Torres was going to finish him off because he had dropped him in the 2nd. And then Cabral just found heart someplace and just staged this tremendous rally.
Journal writer Rick Wright, I read the article the next day, and he said, and I respect Rick Wright, we'd like to have him in studio. He thought, he said the fight was one-sided. And I disagree. I don't know if you read that.
I didn't. I disagree, too. I thought Christian actually won the 6th round. And because I was starting to think my prediction was off because Christian had a good 6th round. But then in the 7th, Josh hit him with about 50 punches. And
one of the things that you mentioned, too, and you said this, better corner, maybe, more experience for Josh Pitbull Torres. Cabral, though, one of the things you said, in defeat, sometimes you can leave that arena and, your reputation kind of shoots up a little bit. And in Christian Cabral's case, I thought that was
I agree with you. I think Christian should grab another tough fight. I think he left the ring a better fighter than he entered it, even though he lost. I'd like to see, it would be a risky fight, but him against Morris Rodriguez.
Ooh, that was a good fight between Pitbull Torres and Morris Rodriguez in March.
And I talked to Josh. Josh is my barber, so that's where I get all my good looks. So Josh, I got to say that. Josh probably paid me not to. But Josh said he thought that would be a 50-50 fight if those two fought.
We're going to go to some other fights real quick, because if we don't, we'll stay on that fight forever. What about what's next for Josh Pitbull Torres? You thought that there's a fight maybe down the way, and they talked about local matches. Is there something outside the local scene here for Josh Pitbull Torres?
We got a lot of welterweights, and if I was one of the welterweights, I'd bring in the fighter from Arizona who has a draw and a win against Josh. If you're trying to get Josh into the ring and you can't fight him, go after, I can't remember the other fighter's name. I don't know if you remember who.
No.
They fought outdoors a couple of years ago, and he upset Josh. And he's actually stayed at my house. I can't think of his name.
But do you think maybe bringing him in?
Oh, I mean, if I was Cabral or Brian Mendoza, because this guy is a real attraction here. People know who he is.
I loved his words.
Marufo.
Okay, yeah.
Marufo.
I loved Josh Pitbull taught us words after the fight. You know, he prayed with the audience. We've had him in the studio twice. We'll get him back. Angel Baby Pettis against George Roybal. I thought, you know, and you mentioned Angel Baby moving up a little bit in competition. What was your opinion?
Well, Roybal came to fight, and I just heard Roybal is not going to fight anymore. Why? I don't know. 'Cause
he didn't do bad.
Not at all. And Angel, I just, you know, obviously we're put here by the Perez brothers, but they don't tell us what to say.
Right.
And we both have commented about the level of competition for Angel. And I definitely think he needs to step up and fight. Because the risk, if you fight too many weak opponents, your skill starts going down because you're getting away with mistakes that you wouldn't with a quality.
Got to get some more quality opponent. That'll do it for segment number 1. In next segment in studio, we'll have Mike Alderete. We'll be back to the Legacy Boxing Showcase after these messages.
Good idea.
Here's
there.
a tough ball, and that is sent in, and fantastic in the air, isn't he? Number 25, and here is sent in right on the PK. Here's some space on the left foot, and that's up. Coming, and there's been suggestions from fans, and so how are you piecing that together? When do you think we'll have a name? And can you tell us anything? Yeah. Lucero, tough touch in front of him. Pemberton, and he's gonna go. Pemberton puts this in from distance. Gasson was way off his line. He has been smooth. Chip into the box. That's dangerous. That's it. And how about that finish by Britt? Head is back, and here's Vargas. Can he get a touch? Yes. Vargas curls this one, upper V, and he knocks it in. So Luis Vargas. The USL New Mexico started the soul with this bending by
Taking a look here, Milne stepped right over. It's a good ball from Vargas.
It's a good save. Look at this. Mesa got a chance. A little chip, and it's 1-0. What a start.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Welcome back to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions, Pettis Collision. I'm Ed Nunez along with Austin Colleen, joined in studio by Mike Alderete. And Mike, thanks so much for joining us. You had the no contest against Mad Max Heyman June 23rd. A lot of Mad Mikes and Mad Maxes here. And we had you in studio, and it was great to have you guys in studio before that, I'm going to let Austin Killeen ask you about that no contest over there at Route 66.
What did you think about that call?
I've been. They told me to protest it a couple times, but you know, it's either way. I didn't want it like that. I don't want a bout like that. You know, anyway. You know, he hurt his back. He couldn't continue. I know Max would get up and fight if he could fight. So, you know, it's just the things that happens in boxing, and you know, something I have to deal with.
And what's your take on the people who thought you should have been disqualified?
It's their take. You know, it can go either way. It could have been disqualification. It could have been it could have been I could have got it. It could have been a TKO. You know, I think it's fair because it's, you know, I don't deserve that bout yet. You know, I deserve it when I win it. So.
Well, I have to say your critics said that about you, but not to you.
Yeah.
Right. There's a whole different thing. There's a lot of, you know, people behind the scenes will say that, but they're not going to come right up and say, and Mike, I got to ask you this. You know, you put a lot of emotional stock into that fight with Max Heyman. You guys exchanged words and some shoves, and you know, I think everybody was really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to ask you this: were you kind of emotionally let down after the whole thing was over? And again, you mentioned Max Heyman unable to continue. He pulled a muscle in his back, and so what was kind of after the fight? What were your feelings after that?
I was disappointed. You know, I was disappointed, and you know, Max was hurt too. You know, it was very disappointing. You know, I didn't want it to end like that. I trained so hard since February, ran every day. You know, it's just the way boxing goes sometimes. And you know, if I could do it over again, you know, I would. It's just, you know, it's just sometimes that happens, and it wasn't intentional. You know, or, you know, he was. You know, it's. I could sit here and say that I pushed him a little bit harder, but he also was holding me. So there's a couple different ways you want to look at it. You know, if you look at the tape, review the tape, he was holding me, and you know, yeah, I gave him a little bit of push, but that was a strategy that I was going to do, and come inside and push a little bit, and you know, that's the way I was going to fight him. You know, I couldn't fight him. I couldn't fight him from the outside because he's too tall, and
right.
I've tried that before and I lost. And so mine was to get inside, and his was to stop me from getting in from inside, and that's kind of where it clashes. Where he'll stop, I'd come in and throw 1-2. And he would stop there and would clinch, you know. And then so that was his strategy, was, you know, stay on the outside and don't let me get inside.
Near the end of the first round, he caught you with a body shot.
Yeah.
Going into round two, what were your feelings? How were you feeling going into round two?
I need to step it up. It was a body shot, kind of like when you're a kid or something and somebody hits you with the basketball and you know you lose your airlift. It was just a quick one. It wasn't a liver shot. It wasn't a devastating shot. I actually recovered. When I sat down, my trainers asked me, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." And so I just decided to step it up a little bit more. And I came out moving a little bit more better, and it just, you know, happened that happened. So.
Awesome.
Mike Adams, the ring announcer, did a great job of whipping the crowd into a frenzy as each of you were coming up to the aisle. Were you I mean, obviously you were really intense. Were you listening to anything Mike said, or were you just focused on getting in the ring?
I didn't listen to anything. I didn't even hear my song. I didn't listen to nobody. I was just really focused on getting in there and fighting.
One thing I want to give you credit for, on March 17th when you guys got in the ring, you looked way out of shape, and you did a magnificent job of getting in shape. And even the other night, what did you weigh, 189? He's still in shape. He hasn't gotten out of condition. He's training at Perez's gym.
We'll get into your bare knuckles endeavor here in a bit, but good point, Austin. So we mentioned that, Mike, you're still in fighting trim still.
Yes, and it's, you know, I trained for this fight. I had diabetes before this fight. I kind of, you know, it's really important to me. I beat it. It's just something that means important to me towards the end of my career now, is that I'm going to be in the best shape I can be in. Just so when I do retire again, I don't have no excuses. I can sit there and say, you know what, if the guy beat me, he beat me. You know, I was in better shape and everything. So, but I want to give myself that opportunity where he was a better man than me, and it wasn't my fault where I didn't train as hard as I should have. So.
the way you're training right now, you look to me like you could literally make 175.
Yeah, I can. I used to fight at 175 back then, and it just, you know, I can make what I could have made 175 if I wanted to for the Max Heyman fight. That'd have been no problem.
Do you have someone monitoring your calorie intake? And because I mean, you did I got to give you credit. You did a great job from March 17th to the fight. You must have lost 25 pounds.
Yes, I did a lot myself. I did a lot of running. That helped out a lot. But I also have a good friend of mine. She's a former world Muay Thai champion, and she was watching me and helping me out and stuff with that too, as I got towards the end of it.
For anybody that thought that was a joke, they should have tried losing the weight you lost. But you did it sensibly each week. You lost 4 or 5 pounds. You didn't rush at the end.
Yeah, so I didn't have to dry out at the end. You know, I didn't eat the day of the fight or the night before just because, you know, the water or something will put a lot of weight on you. So I did that, and that's, you know, I didn't struggle or nothing. It just.
Well, you were way under. You were 181.
I was 4 pounds underneath my weight.
Yeah.
You mentioned running 7 to 8 miles a day.
Yes.
Every day, you said.
Every day, 7, 8 miles a day. My trainer Hector Munoz would get up there and he'd go with me. You know, if I was late to the gym, he'd be waiting in the car and drop me off a little bit farther. The most I've done was 10 miles. He made me do 10 miles. He dropped me off on Alameda and Coors and said, all right, I'll see you later. And then I'd have to run back to his house, which was 10 miles.
Oh man, that's taxing, no question. Yeah. We're going to talk about a little bit about your next endeavor, and I'm going to have Austin Killeen ask you about that.
Well, the other day you were talking to my friend Richie LaMontague back in Boston, and at the gym you were talking about bare knuckle fighting and this new organization.
Yep.
So the rules kind of overlap boxing and mixed martial arts. They've taken some from each.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little about that?
So I got signed to the WBKFF, which is the World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation. I believe their first show was June. It was on pay-per-view. This next one is going to be October 20th in Casper, Wyoming. So it's a new endeavor for me. It's something a little different. There's a couple different rules on there that, but it's mostly boxing. You got a lot of MMA guys. I think they even have a football player they signed from. He was a professional football player. A lot of MMA guys, some boxers. You know, I'm one of the boxers, and you know, I think I have a really good advantage being a boxer because it is mostly boxing. Besides the new rules that they acquired, is a hammer fist, but you can't tackle. You can clinch, and I guess that's maybe where you throw your hammer fist at. There's no kicks,
knees, elbows.
There's no kicks, elbows, knees, but it is bare knuckle. So this part of your fist right here is open, nothing there. And then you wrap your hands, and the way they wrap it is they go up to the thumb a little bit, and just kind of just support for your
similar
wrist.
to MMA with the boxing, you know, things that they use in MMA. Is it similar to that as far as the way they wrap your hands?
No, it's not. It's a little bit less because in the boxing they wrap your hands with some gauze and they put a little thing in it. You know, it's actually hard. It's about as hard as this, and this is just kind of like a single wrap, and you know, just bare knuckle. Just so it's pretty.
When you were talking about the wrapping the other night at the gym, it looks to me like there could be a lot of thumb injuries. When I boxed, your thumb wasn't attached to the glove.
Yeah.
I think I told you we were talking. But we'd have a lot of thumb injuries. It happened to you every 2 or 3 weeks. The guy would use his elbow to block your punch, and it affected you. Literally, were having your hands in a bucket of ice for a week. You couldn't spar with anybody, and it was a reoccurring injury.
Yeah, even
painful, I would think.
Yeah.
Even that even happens to you with the gloves on. You know, it's just when you hit somebody's elbow or the bottom of their elbow or something, and you kind of maybe tilt it wrong or don't turn it over as much or something, you're at your wrist.
But if you have with the thumb attached to the glove, it's definitely cut down on that type of injury.
Mike, I wanted to ask you, as far as the bare knuckles that you joined and were signed in, how big is this around the country? You mentioned it's pay-per-view, so you know I hadn't really heard much about it. You know, I'm in the fight game as far as around the fight game with, so I've never really, Mike Adams mentioned it on 610 about 2 months ago. So how prevalent is this around the country? I mean, is this something that you think is going to get bigger, or is it just taking off now? Where's it at?
I think it's going to take off. I actually think it's going to take off. I think it's a good thing. It's a little bit more violent, but it's not as violent.
Than MMA or just boxing, you mean? Because MMA's got the elbows and knees. And
them both.
Got about 2 minutes left.
Then both of them, it's you do got your elbows and your knees and stuff. So it's a knee to your face is probably harder than a punch to your face. So I believe it's going to take off. It'll get bigger. It's already big. It's already pretty big. Now it's getting the word out once people catch wind of it and stuff. And they have a Facebook page. It's called WBKFF. If you want to check it out, it's pretty awesome. They signed some good UFC fighters, veterans.
So you think it's going to grow?
I think
Austin, about a minute left. One more question for Mike Altavedde.
Well, I'm watching them on TV this morning before I came here. A lot of street fighters think it's easy, but what they do is they lean back, and I see someone like you just chopping someone up who was stupid enough to just lean back to avoid your punch. You'd just step in and cream them.
Yeah, it's definitely an art, and I come across that a lot where street fighters go up to me and say I was a good street fighter. I say that's good. That's where I came from, the street. That's where I fought, and I just decided I was good at it. But you clean it up, and in boxing, it's just you put your hand down just a little bit. You get
Right.
they see it. That's why it's a sweet science. They catch it. Whatever you do wrong, and I believe everybody has a weakness, and you just got to figure out and kind of adapt to however you can fight. So
Well, comparing it to a chess match, ironically, isn't that a bad
yeah,
comparison?
Good way to say it, Mike. We got about 30 seconds left. When is your fight?
it is.
Everybody can watch.
It's going to be October 20th on pay-per-view. I don't know what channel, but it's Casper, Wyoming. Check me out, bare knuckle.
So you got a couple months to train. We'll be back to the Legacy Boxing Showcase after these messages.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico High School athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you. Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Welcome back to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions, Pettis Collision, and Ed Nunez in studio with Mike Alderete and Austin Colleen. And one thing we didn't mention, gentlemen, the Pettis brothers have done a wonderful job with and I know how complimentary you were out there in the weigh-ins. I saw the weigh-ins, and everybody's been real complimentary about what Aaron Pettis and Jordan Pettis have done. What a card it was at Route 66.
Yes, it was.
I think they put themselves at the top of the pile in promotions. They got pretty strong fighters fighting for them, and Jason Sanchez and Josh Torres.
Unfortunately, Jason Sanchez unable to fight that night. A glitch prevented that. But I think the last two cards that they had in March at Route 66 and then just a couple of weeks ago have been phenomenal. And especially to end the night with that fight between Pitbull and Cabral. And you mentioned both Cabral the Puma had his cheering section, and Josh Pitbull Torres had his.
Pitbull, Puma, Puma. And it was like back and forth.
Albuquerque represent.
And the tension when they got in the ring before the bell rang was unbelievable.
Even at the weigh-in, you were at the weigh-in, and they faced off, and you could tell that Josh respects everybody. I don't care. Pitbull Torres, not only is a great boxer, he's a fantastic human being. Yeah. That's more important to me than anything. But you could tell he definitely respected. And after Cabral, I would like to see a rematch there. They mentioned Josh Sanchez maybe fighting Pitbull. They mentioned some other people, and I'm thinking, hey, Cabral, he deserves at least a call out for a rematch after that fight.
If Josh would be smart, he should go after Cabral rather should go. That's the best way to get another fight with Josh. Call out Marufo, beat him.
But I think one of the things that you mentioned is all these welterweights stacked. Diamond Boy didn't even fight. Okay, we didn't even talk about Diamond Boy.
Right.
Now, Papitas against Tavoris Teague. Now, if I'm Matthew Escobar, I'm going to say I don't want any part of Tavoris Teague. I don't want anything to do with him. His style, that splayed-legged style, really confused. I thought Escobar. I don't know if you saw that fight or not.
The knockdown, questionable knockdown at the end of the fourth round. If that was scored as a knockdown,
you know what?
He would have lost the decision.
Teague is okay. Don't be deceived by the record, right? 4-21. Yeah. That guy comes in the ring in fantastic shape every time. You don't see him. He's there and he's not. He gives you the worst angles to hit. Yeah. And Papitas being out of the ring for Matthew Escobar being out for 5 years. I'm not saying he's not good. He is. But that guy there, if I'm his corner, I don't want any part of Tavoris Teague. I don't want to see him anymore.
The problem with guys like Tavoris Teague is they use them as opponents. And once you get labeled as an opponent, you're done. You're just
No, you're right. But guys, you know what, Austin? You did mention he comes in phenomenal shape.
Phenomenal.
Gentlemen, I want to ask your opinion. Manny Pacquiao beat Lucas Matisse on Saturday. And Pacquiao, 39 years old, and got just a couple minutes. What's next for Manny Pacquiao? I don't think he wants any part of Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't think he wants Earl Spence, Jeff the Hornet Horn. I'm not sure that anybody wants to see that. So what do you think is next for Manny Pacquiao?
The banker, Floyd Mayweather, is looking at Pacquiao. Can I make money on a second fight with him? That's what I think could be.
Does anybody really want to see that? I mean, the first one was one of those. You know what? And I paid good money for that, and I'm still very upset about that. Mike, what do you think?
Well, it's a possibility because you get Pacquiao getting a knockout now finally after years of not getting a knockout, and then I think that's gonna develop interest in it. And I think if he can maybe do one more fight against a quality opponent like Matthias was, I think he might be able to see that one.
I'll tell you, Manny, 5-4 in his last 9. Now, think about it, though. 2 of those decisions against Tim Bradley, horrible. Against Jeff the Hornet Horn, horrible. So really, he could have been 7-2 in the last 10 fights. Now he's 6-4, 7-3. So sometimes boxing, Mike, you said it best. Boxing, I don't know what's going to happen with boxing.
And he also
decisions,
He also got rid of Freddie Roach.
Right.
So it might be a little bit of a change and a little bit of difference for him where, he's trying something new, he's trying something different,
One thing's for sure, he's on the tail end, and sometimes old fighters, and we've seen it before with Duran, Leonard, Hearns, they stay too long, and, they get their comeuppance. So I don't know. He's got maybe 2 fights left, in my opinion.
If you look at go back to the 50s, back to the turn of the last century, fighters stayed with their managers for 20 years. They never jumped. And first time I noticed it was De La Hoya literally got a new trainer every fight. Yeah. He was with Beristain. He was with Freddie Roach, Gil Clancy. And he just kept changing trainers, and that's what boxers tend to do. Instead of looking in the mirror, they blame someone else for their losses.
Kind of surprised that Roach changed so late in his career, though. He's been with Freddie since, Freddie Roach for a long time. That's going to do it for Legacy Boxing Showcase for Austin Killeen. Mad Mike Alderete, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode on Proview Networks.